So listen. You are watching right now the recap of my 3-year podcast anniversary live show, right? So it happened on no in November of last year. And so I'm just so elated for that. We have another event coming up very, very soon that you will be learning about. Shout out to Tio and Tavio, who did the footage for me. Like, I did a post about him and his magnificent editing style because it is bananas. I've never seen someone who can edit so fast on the spot. So book him for all of your events. Like, you will not go wrong if you book him. Like, if you want to captivate the moment or capture the moment and be captivated by his editing, you definitely want to book him. So shout out to T.O. Giving you a shameless plug, T.O. All right, so we're going to get right into this episode. Today is Monday. Happy Monday. You know, Monday is my favorite day of the week. It is a day to reset, to focus on new goals, to conquer and crush new goals for your week. So Mondays are Bay around here at the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. So it's January 13th. So we are at the start of the year. So you can't put up those resolutions. You cannot give up on your goals just yet. We are just at the start, all right? So make sure that right now I want you to tag someone. I want you to make sure that you share this post. I want to make sure that you are following me on all of your social media platforms. You can find the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast on all of your favorite podcast platforms, also Facebook, IG Live, and YouTube Live. We're doing something very special on this episode because I want to see how engaged you are. You have to make sure that you are asking us questions, that you're liking, that you're sharing, that you are involved in this conversation. And if I see that you are someone that stands out, I have some merch for you. All right. So the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz Podcast official Jazzy Crew shirt can be yours if you engage. So all you have to do is make sure that you engage, you share, you like, all of that good stuff. All right. So I want to see some comments on YouTube. I want to see some comments on Facebook Live, on IG Live, and that shirt can be yours. So without further ado, I am going to introduce my guest for tonight. It's been a long time coming, and I'm going to share a great story with her that she has no idea that I'm going to share with her, but I cannot wait. And so, you know how you have a list of people that you want to eventually interview if you are in the podcast space. And for me, I visualize how I want like the set to look, the ambiance and all of that. But listen, Miss Ma'am is busy. Miss Ma'am is in Georgia. She's in Atlanta. So I couldn't have her in person. So I had to make it do what it do, right? And so without further ado, my special guest for episode 140, y'all, is Miss Mercedes Madam Walker. She goes by Mercedes. Well, she goes by Madam Walker. If you are very proper, address her as Madam Walker. But she's from Bartow, so she's a hometown girl. So we know her as Mercedes Walker. So she is definitely a dynamic force in both the hospitality industry and in the community. Born and raised in Bartow, Florida, as stated before, Mercedes has always had a passion for community and also for women's empowerment, leadership. Currently, she resides in Atlanta. She has established herself as a skilled and respected professional, serving as a general manager in the restaurant industry, where she expertly balances operations, customer service, and team development. Beyond her professional success, Mercedes is a committed advocate to women's empowerment. She is the founder of Ladies in Motion, a platform dedicated to uplifting and supporting women in various walks of life. As the host of the Talk It Out podcast, Mercedes shines the spotlight on women who are making motion and Mercedes or in impacting their communities in positive and transformative ways. Through her work, both on and off the mic, Mercedes continues to inspire, to connect, and to empower those around her. Known for her vibrant energy and leadership, Mercedes, affectionately known, as I told you before, as Madam Walker, is a trailblazer who is constantly working to break barriers and to also create opportunities for women to thrive in. And I love me some good women's empowerment, but you just have to make sure that you are really, really about that life. So let's see if Miss Mercedes is really about that life. How you doing, girl?
I am so blessed and honestly highly favored. I have no complaints in life at all. So, how are you?
I'm doing good. Like I'm on like this journey of self-improvement, and like I think
Mhm.
everybody is all excited like with the phrase of self-improvement, but baby, when you hold that mirror in front of you and you start doing like the hard work, you have to admit your wrong, you have to admit your wrongs, you
Yeah,
have to
girl.
admit the areas that you have to grow in, you got to be able to be transparent, and it's just
Hmm.
woo, like it sounds
Yeah.
good, but it's hard, but it's also it's beneficial, in the end. So I'm just excited for growth in 2025. So
Amy.
I am blessed and highly favored too. I'm digging all of that.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be on this side of the mic. So, thank you for having me.
Listen, I was going to ask you, how does it feel to be on this side of the mic? Because it's a totally different experience. It's totally different now
I
when
know.
you're on the other end. So how does it feel? Because I know this isn't your first time being on the other side, but how does it feel to you?
It's exciting. Shout out to you, first of all,
Thank
just even
you.
inviting me on. Shout out
Thank
to the
you.
guys at the This, That, and the Other podcast. They're the first people to like interview me.
Yeah.
So this is my second podcast. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Get
And it's
out. It's the second one.
girl, that's only the second one. So
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I appreciate opportunity. It feels good to be on the other side. But it is kind of I'm more nervous, I feel like, on the other side than I am in my interview seat.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny to me. Like, why? Like, cause like you're a natural at it. Like one thing I've noticed about you and your journey, it's like I love your style because you're a natural at it. So what makes this side, that side that you're on, what makes you nervous?
I think maybe it's so easy for me because I'm a natural, like I talk a lot.
Yeah.
I naturally ask a lot of questions. I really am like a curious person. I want to know, like, if you are bald, what made you cut your hair bald? Were you just going bald, or like
Yeah.
did something cause you to do? I'm just that way naturally. So the asking of the questions, it really does just come naturally, so it doesn't make me nervous. It makes me nervous maybe to just answer questions, like not being known what will be asked, but because I know how it goes, I'm always open to whatever. And I'm a very transparent, honest person. So, you know, I don't know. I guess it's just being on this side. I don't know what it is, but I will say I just noticed I had a little bit more nerves this time than I
Yeah.
would. I feel like if I was just on my own platform, I guess so.
Really? So
Mhm.
let's ease it. Let's ease the tension. It's not even tension, but let's just calm the nerves.
Got you.
And we have some people who I guess who heard the calls. By the way, thank you so much for the promo that you did for the podcast. Like kudos to you
Thank
because
you.
you understand the assignment. You understood
Thank
it.
you.
So I do appreciate it. And so we talked about in our post today and sharing that you have the opportunity to win a free Jazzy Conversations with Jazz t-shirt. And so I see that
Mhm.
Cowboy has tuned in and he's saying he's such a fan. I'm such a fan of you too, classmate. Listen, we just happened to have our classroom. I can't even get out of school.
Your
Our
reunion.
high school class reunion, Miss Sir, this
Got
past weekend for the Bartow High School class of 1998. So shout out to all of the members of the class of 98. Don't
you.
hate. All right. So listen, so thank you for that. I see another member. They're saying I want it. So send me. All you got to do is continue to converse with us, ask us questions. We want to know that you are really, really tuning in. Share this
Mhm.
podcast post, like it, share it, and subscribe. Like that's the coin phrases. Like Mercedes, on your podcast, you do something that I really love, and you have a share goal. So if you have friends
Thank
in
you.
your tribe that's watching, what do you think our share goal should be for this episode?
I think it should be 50. Mine are always 50. I think 50 is attainable. I'm
Yes,
already
I do.
seeing a few people. You see a few people, I see a few people I know. So it should be able to be reached.
I think so too. Like do that share goal. And I since I am like my love language is words of affirmation. I love when people leave reviews. So let us know how we're doing on the podcast, what you want to know, how you are enjoying it. Okay. So make sure you guys do that. Tap in, tag. You can tag people in your comment section and we can go from there. So Mercedes, I'm so glad that you agreed to do this podcast episode. And
Thank
so I think something that people don't know about us is that we're like literally almost family.
literally family.
And so I don't think a lot of people know that. And so I was looking at the pictures that you sent over to me the other day,
Hmm.
the ones that you wanted me to use for the flyer. And I'm like, if that is not our niece Drea, you look just
Everyone says
like Drea.
that. That is so funny. Everyone says that.
Like y'all are twins. Like, so Mercedes' brother is married to my niece. And
Mhm.
so we share, Mercedes and I share a nieces together, Demi and
Nieces.
Freya, about to share another niece together,
Mhm.
like run it back. And so it's just like they look exactly like her. Like they're like a little lighter, but it's like a split image of like Mercedes. Did you just pop these kids out? Because what's going on?
Right? I know. So shout out to that. I'll take credit. I was just shout out to my nieces. They just FaceTime me. Drea FaceTime me.
Uh-huh.
And I tell her, niece, you know you can FaceTime me anytime you want. She said, anytime? I was like, anytime, niece. But I was just looking at her and I can see the little resemblances. But I'm just so proud to be their aunt. I really am. Brittany and Dre make beautiful babies.
They do.
They make the best kids. So
They
I'm
do.
proud to be their aunt. And we really are like family. And
Yeah.
Jasmine, I've been watching you for a long time though. Like even before then, I've always kind of watched you operate because we're Bartow girls, like
Right.
in your gift. So that's always been a blessing to, witness and watch. So, even though we ain't blood, it's winning going
Yeah.
on in the family.
Yes. And so like when you say that you watch from a distance because we're from the same place and
Hmm.
watching people be in their gifts. I started at the top of the show by saying there was something that I was going to share with you, a story. And so I first of all shout out to Lou of the This, That, and Other podcast
Hmm.
because he put a caption today that said the pod mothers. He'll call me the pod mother, but he's like, you two are the pod mothers. And I was just thinking, I'm like, Mercedes really did start her podcast because you're in the hundreds too. Like you're like what, episode 110?
And that's because I stopped
Because you
for a long
stopped. And that's what I
time.
was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like, even when you took a break, you still have a whole catalog of dope
Hmm.
episodes that are still out there because you started this. You may have even started like before me. I can't, I was trying to do the timeline and I can't really remember, but I just remember we would just be popping up at events. And I'm like, okay, there's Mercedes. And I'm like, okay, she's on her grind. Like, I like to see it. And
Yes.
your elevation, just continued. And so here's a story that I want to share with you.
Hmm.
And I've never shared this story with you, but I was like, if I ever have her on my podcast, which I knew I was going to, at some point, I was like, I want to share this story with her because I need for her to know how people see her and she may not even know who's watching, right? And I also wanted to drive home the power of women empowerment and networking, right? And so I one of my sorority sisters, which by the way, wait a minute. Wait a
Represent.
minute. First of all, wait a minute. Uh, okay, so shout out to all of the Deltas. I will say that they're not the first, but their Founders Day is on January 13th, which is today. So
Today.
kudos and shout out to all of the Deltas because it is their founding day,
I got you.
right? Founders Day. And so the Founders Day for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, who are the first, will be January 15th. And it is
Okay.
also my son London's birthday. So I said, I'm not doing an episode on our Founders Day, and I'm going to be knee-deep birthday stuff. So I wear my gear
Represent today.
today,
As you
just
should.
gonna wear it today. And so this is how people you never know who's watching you. So do you remember the time that you hosted it was a MLK Martin Luther King Jr. parade event where we spotlighted entrepreneurs and you were in the inside of the small part of the gym of the complex, right? And so all of these entrepreneurs came and they set up and you did interviews with entrepreneurs. It was the first year that they implemented that
Yeah.
into the MLK parade, right?
Hmm.
And so one of my sorority sisters knew that I had a podcast, and she knew that I was in radio, etc. And so she knew someone who was in radio, and she introduced me to her, but we were just on the phone. Like our entire conversation was on the phone. And so she's like, we were talking, and she ended up booking me to be on her show. Like I was a guest um contributor on her radio show for, I was doing it, I did it for maybe like a year. And so, but in that conversation and in conversations that we had, because remember, we never met each other, she knew my name, she knew my podcast, and we were just conversing like um audio wise, right? And she's like, "Oh, and I just loved I love your voice, and I love, how you interviewed at the MLK parade at the inside of the building." And I was like, "You mean on the outside?" Like when I
Because you were hosting.
when I hosted like the community, like the talent portion, and we
Yeah.
did, speeches and all that. And she was like, "You're not the one that was inside." And I said, "No." I said, "Her name is," and that's so I started talking about you. Her name is Mercedes, and she has a podcast also, and it's Talk It Out. Like I gave her your information, I gave her all that, and she's like, "This whole time I thought I was talking to her, but
Oh
it's like
God,
we have formed this relationship." And she thought
that's so crazy.
I was like, this
That is
lady thought that I was
crazy.
Mercedes, and I'm like, "No."
Wow,
And
that
then
is
we
so
finally met, and I
interesting.
was like, I don't know, that spoke to me. Like that has happened to me before, in terms of people thinking that someone else was me or whatever. But I was like, I don't know why that story kept popping in my head. And then I was like, I know why that story keeps popping in my head, because I think sometimes you have to just really just tell people like how dope they are, and just tell them that people are watching them and noticing them and speaking and thinking highly of them that they don't even know about. So you had
Thank
someone
you.
in media that really liked what you were doing, and
Mhm.
she liked you. And so
Mhm.
I wanted to just give you your flowers on that front,
Thank
because
you.
you have a personality that is a bright personality. Like it lights up a room. Like whenever I do see you, like you're smiling, like you're like you said, you're inquisitive. So it's like I see you asking questions, and you're working the room. And so where do you get that from?
So when I started in everything LIM, before it was Ladies in Motion, God was giving me this vision. Like, so this is nothing but a gift from God. And I always tell people that. I will say that because I was writing plans and making plans about things that I did not know that it would be called LIM, like Ladies in
Yeah.
Motion. But I would
Yeah.
I would write like 3 lines because I knew it would be 3 letters. Just the vision was starting to come to me. But at the beginning of Ladies in Motion, at the time, let's go back to this. So
Yeah.
I feel like from pain, women, men, people are pushed into purpose. I truly do believe that. And I felt like I was a younger lady, and I was in a very long relationship. And just to not go deep into that, I felt like after that relationship, maybe I lost myself. I'm like, dang, I'm not doing things I was passionate about no more. Or, and so I just felt unlike myself. So I remember praying and getting to that journey of getting back to myself, certain
Yeah.
things I was asking God for. So around that time, I started coaching high school cheerleading at Tenor Rock High School. I was also working for Wells Fargo at the time. So I was working for Wells Fargo. But then, I remember writing down certain goals. And
Yeah.
then I kid you not, like by the end of the year, certain stuff that I was writing down was literally like at my fingertips. So, when I start, and so then I'm coaching cheerleading, and I'm naturally a host. Like I'm naturally a nurturing person. I can't say this now, but I'm naturally a nurturing person. And when it came to LIM and like hosting and stepping into that, when I was hosting my cheerleading banquets, when I was hosting my, what is it? Our, we had an ugly Christmas sweater party every single year. When I was doing things with church, I say, dang, what is something I naturally am just good at, that I really
Yeah.
do enjoy doing, that I can start stepping into more. And a lot of people don't know, some people think I'm quiet, but I'm once you get to know me, I'm not. But at
Yeah.
first, I really am just observing.
That
I
is
just,
so me.
yeah, I'm just
That's
observing.
like me.
So I just feel like I was doing a lot of things. I'm like, dang, I really do enjoy when I put together my banquet for my cheerleaders, from decorating it, putting it all together.
Yeah.
When they get there, the kids eating first, but I'm just working the room. I'm serving all the parents drinks because I have
Yeah.
this background in hospitality. So I got 3 cups in one hand, two in this one. They're like, oh my gosh, but it's because
Yeah.
we're gonna feed the babies first. But parents, I can get y'all something to drink. So I would just be working the room, and I'm like, you know what? I'm naturally just good at this. I really do enjoy doing this. It doesn't make me nervous to speak in front of these people or whatever. And again, I'm a host that I want the audience to be engaged.
Yeah.
So I just feel like naturally I started doing that. So when I started talking out, I said I'm gonna start talking out so I can shine light on these women, but hopefully in return I can be booked more as a host. And that was
Right.
really just the goal in return. And from talking out, I booked the pink carpet to the Strike for a Cause fashion show way back when, and I've been just really doing it since. You
Yeah.
know, so
That's close to 10 years ago.
it really is.
Yeah.
And I really like when I started this. It wasn't really people in the community doing it. Like nobody in our community was doing this yet. But I
Mhm.
remember trying to, like, before I even did this or had anything ladies in motion related, I remember having a meeting with
Mhm.
some people trying to get them to see the vision. And some people who were my friend at the time was like, listen, I understand what you're saying, but I don't have time for that right now. Or they just had their own thing going on, but that's, God gave me this vision, so just do it. And I was just showing, shout out to Millicent Reed. That's who I interviewed last week on my show.
Yeah. That
For
was amazing. I love that interview.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
But I was just showing her. She came to my job yesterday, and I was showing her all my old episodes back in the day. And
Yeah.
my first Talk It Out session was a Facebook Live that I just bought somebody in
Yeah.
as a person, and then after that, I started hanging up a sheet at my church. Like real old
Yeah.
school. Then after that, shout out to HB Holmes. He seen me. Hey, I see what you're doing. I love the work that you're doing. I want to sponsor a season of your podcast. So then I'm showing up to his studio in the green screen. That's when it was all fancy.
Yeah.
And I just went through all these stages of it. And even I started this so long ago, I should be way past 105. But again, when I moved to Atlanta, I did my show. The first 6 months I was here, and then after that I took a break. It's like, listen, I'm just gonna focus on me, because when I
Yeah.
was at home doing everything LIM though, I was working.
Yeah.
I was on every single scene. Like,
You
on
were.
top of doing LIM, I'm mentoring with Angels of Destiny. Every Monday we're doing virtual sessions. And then every like Tuesday, what it was we were doing it with the older girls. Medicine say my mouth hit the floor. When
Yeah.
I was showing them y'all all the clips of
Uh-huh.
how I started, they were just like, like they could not even
Yeah.
believe it. But I'm just grateful. All glory to God. But that's just kind of how it started. The elevation, just having this vision and
Yeah.
nobody really understanding it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go get women who I think are women in motion, ladies who are winning, and just interview them, pique their minds, and that's just kind of how it started. And
Yeah.
I am proud to say, if nobody want to admit it, I'm here to admit it. Ladies in Motion did something in Polk County. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah.
It started a movement. I'm telling you, it really, really did. And I see people that didn't know each other, but now
Absolutely.
they are connected through the Ladies in Motion Network. I'm proud about that, because not
Yeah.
because I did it, no, because God did it, and that's what
Yeah.
it was for. When I prayed for it intentionally from the beginning, that's what it was for.
Right.
So you don't have to say it, I see it, and
She said you don't have to say it.
listen, you don't have to say it, I see it, and it's cool if you don't, because it's, again, all glory to God. That's what it was supposed to happen. So I
Yeah.
would love for you to say it, because that's what it was for. But if you don't, it's cool.
Yeah.
I see it, and the plan has been fulfilled. It's been fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Listen, so we're gonna circle back to that because that's a great segue into the women empowerment and the whole point and purpose of it leading
Mm.
to um what you consider to be your comeback. But before we start with that,
Okay.
I want you to oblige me for a second because I want to do something with you. I know you a little bit, right? And so I
Yeah.
don't know everything, which is the great thing about doing this podcast episode, right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so, what I want you to do, we're gonna play a little game, and so that little game is called Two Truths and One Lie. So,
Okay.
tell the audience, and we can see. I'm gonna see if some audience members can guess these things too. But those, I hope you did some that if people who really know you, they still may not know. But let's see. So we'll do two truths and one lie. So tell me two truths, one lie about you. So let's listen to all three.
So I'm gonna list three, no particular order. Okay. Number one, I cannot cook. Okay. Don't ask me to cook nothing. I got my
Okay.
certain dishes, but I don't want to cook. Okay.
Okay.
Number two, I have a sister.
Okay.
Okay. And number three, I've been growing my locks for 8 years. What do
Ooh.
you think is the truth? What do you think is the lie? Some of them long, but some of them,
You said some of your locks are long.
girl, I be doing the most with them, like for real. So yeah, tell me what y'all think. Number one, I can't cook. Number two, I have a sister. And number three, I've been growing my locks for 8 years. Okay. Which one is the lie?
Oh.
So if you know me, you know which one is the lie though. Like if you know me, you know which one is the lie.
So I don't know. So number one is you can't cook.
Uh-huh.
Is that the truth or the lie? Number two is you have a sister.
Uh-huh.
We got to figure out if that's true or not. And then the third one, which is scaring me because I want to start this lock journey, but if I gotta wait 8 years, baby,
It's
I gotta
tough.
wait eight
It's so
years.
tough, but so worth it.
Oh, I don't know. Let me see if somebody is. I think I have
Let's
one.
see who's watching. And let's
Let's see
see,
who
what do you
people
think,
who
guys?
Maya Young says she can cook.
Ah, Maya, I didn't know you'd be on here. So that's the lie, huh? Okay, so Maya, shout out to my girl Maya. I love you, Maya. Thanks so much for tuning in. Maya is a Georgia follower.
Okay,
Okay.
hey, Georgia's in the
Mhm.
building. I know that's
Mhm.
right.
Yes, girl.
Okay, so the lie is the fact that you can't cook.
That's the lie.
Okay, so what's your favorite dish that you love to cook? Like you are best known for what dish? Like what dish do they get Mercedes to cook?
Oh God. Okay, so it just depends. Here in Georgia, I
Okay.
I would say I don't know. I can't say. But a guy I was dating, he
Mm.
I would make homemade pasta, whatever kind of homemade pasta. I'm known for the homemade. I don't want store-bought Alfredo. I don't want none of that. I'm gonna make
Pasta sauce or the pasta?
so look,
Because you
just
out
the
here
sauce.
rolling out dough and what? Wait
I've
a
not
minute.
done that yet, but I next time I do make a spaghetti, I'm gonna home make my dough because I've been seeing it, and
Right.
I'm gonna home make my pasta. I really wanted to do that. So
Uh-huh.
and honestly, I just feel like I really do enjoy cooking. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't know that, but unless you know me, like my brother Debo know because we live together and he greedy and I cook for him a lot. My
Okay.
daddy know because I would live with my brother and my dad before I moved to Georgia. That's who I live with, and I just cook for them all the time. But I enjoy doing that, and they like it, so it's like this makes them
It's a
happy.
win-win, right?
Let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that the lie was that I cannot cook. And I
Okay.
got some heavy hitters in my family. So if you know, you will
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah, I can attest to that. I've been to your mom's house once, and yeah, the food was immaculate because it was one of the girls' birthday. So yeah, I can attest to that. So that's awesome.
yes,
I know
but I do
guys
have a
love
sister.
that. But see, you said someone that you dated. Like, were you guys serious, or you kind of were like, let me show you what I can do. Let me see if I can hook you real quick.
No, we were serious. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We dated for a long time. And yeah, it's all love.
Okay. Cool
Yeah,
beans.
it's all
I
love.
just so that's awesome. Like I love to hear like it's because a lot of people don't think I know how to. Well, I think they do know. I think they do know that I know how to cook, but they know that I'm going to eat out versus cook. Like my
Right.
kids would be like, "Mom, when are you cooking? And I'm like, and that makes me feel so good. But I'm like, I would prefer to go out to eat. But
Mhm.
it is definitely something, when you prepare a meal for someone, because
I
that
love
love and care goes into it,
I
right? So
love it. I really do.
I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get better at that. But in this dating season,
Uh-huh.
guys, stop expecting for a woman to just cook for y'all off the rip. That's not what we're
Listen.
doing.
And
That's not
and
what we're doing. If
girl,
you're
we can
if
talk
you're
about dating.
special, we'll do it.
Uh,
Some of us.
right.
I know it's a lot of women out there that, like, I have a roommate. I used to be like, girl, and she is married, but I'm like, you're gonna keep a man because she's just that nurturing type. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she will say that our first date, come over and I want to cook for you. Like, I want to show you, like, she'll do this like immaculate spread. Like, we used to
Okay.
love when she was dating somebody, because I'm like, baby, can we come over to eat? Like, what we eating today? Because I know we're gonna eat good, right?
I don't
So,
know about on the first date. You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
look, he might
So,
just be
fellas,
sticking
it's
around
not
because
that we don't want
of
to do it. It's not that we won't do it.
the food.
You gotta be the one. You gotta be
It's
him.
gotta be super worth it. Yeah.
Gotta be him. You gotta be him. So listen, I with this podcast, you said, whether or not you acknowledge it, I know that I'm causing change. Like, I
Yeah.
am doing something in
For
this
sure.
community. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to go into, a let's go with the positive side of it. Like,
Okay.
what's the beauty in being able to tap into these different women and learning about, women who have different paths of life, and
Mhm.
women who are winning and how they became successful. Like, what's a great story, like a great feeling that you get from that?
Honestly, just hearing the story and knowing that it's not perfect, you
Yeah.
know. So just knowing that it's not perfect is always great to hear. Number one, because just that's encouraging, you
Yeah.
know, because some people do think it's just so easy, but it's really not. And you do get tired, and it can be draining, you know what I mean? So just hearing other women's story and letting them know, like, hey, I actually went through a few struggles too. It's like,
Right.
okay, good. So I'm not tripping, you know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
I've met women who have sat in prison, who's been on my podcast, who are entrepreneurs
Yeah.
making money, who've overcome some things, you know what I mean? So again, I think a lot of people, before you get to like purpose, you do go through some type of pain,
Right.
it was me being a young lady, having my heart broken, just maybe not being focused as a young lady that has me so passionate about other young ladies, telling
Yeah.
them, like, I
Yeah.
have a little one of my little hosts at work that I manage. I'll call her name. I'll be like, hey. And I'm like, who first? You
Yeah.
first. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just so passionate about pouring into women and let them know, like, themselves first. Because I'm doing my thing now. I'm 32. I got Ladies in Motion. I got Talk It Out. And we're, I feel great about all that. But just imagine had I been focused right out of school, maybe, you know what
Yeah.
I mean, with this
Yeah.
vision. I never forget, there was a girl named Jade that I met, and I always had dreams to get into media, broadcast journalism, any of that. I always had dreams to do that, right? But back then, I remember even telling my mom this one day, mom, she asked me, well, what do you want to do? I'm getting ready to go to school. And I said, you want my dream job, or you want like something I just don't mind doing? And she said, I want you to be realistic. That's what she told me. Because she
Yeah.
knew I was going to say media. She knew it, because
Yeah.
that's always been the goal. I don't know if you remember when Roxy and Terrence was leaving 106 in Park way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
There's a YouTube video of this girl up somewhere sending my audition tape in, because I wanted to do that just way back then. I've always loved media. I always loved telling people stories. I just always have loved that. So, that's also why I start my show with asking people, what was it when you was in high school? What was it that you saw yourself doing? Because I really didn't know. I had a vision, but I didn't have a plan of how I was
Mm-hmm.
going to get there. So
Mm-hmm.
just, I love, to answer your question, learning people's story, because everyone didn't know. Everyone's not like my best friend Laisha, who in 11th grade was like, you know what? I don't want to be a lawyer no more. I'm gonna go for nursing, and she
Yeah.
stayed the course. Now
Yeah.
she's, up and up. Like
Yeah.
everyone doesn't have that journey. Me, I wanted to be um a pediatrician. Then they say, oh, this all this school. I'm like, oh, I just can't even, I don't know about all that. Then like, you know what, let me tap into this because that just really sounded good, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, just the best part is hearing these women's story, knowing that it wasn't perfect, but they're still successful women making moves. It hasn't been perfect.
Hmm.
You know, that keeps me encouraged, you know, and it wants me to tell the story to other people. I'm like, dang, you know what? Somebody else need to hear this. Cause me, I'm one of those people, I'm immediately thinking about the next, you know, if I'm anywhere, I'm like, oh, you know what? I got a homegirl. Actually, we had this breast cancer fashion show ever. Like off the rip. If I know you and I can plug you in, I'm gonna plug you in. So
Yeah.
that's who I am. So if I know
I love
somebody,
that too.
dang, yeah, like so and so can benefit from the story that you just told. Oh, I need to connect y'all. That's just
Yeah.
I'm that way, you know.
So a gut response, like who sticks out to you? Like when you think about a guest, like who sticks out to you when you think about a great interview? Because I know all of them have been great, but
Mm,
when you think about it, like who's the first guest that comes to your brain?
listen, I know this is crazy, but my interview last week, I just feel like that's just where I am. But I don't. I'm not gonna say her, yes, but I
Yeah.
do want to say another few aside from her because I did just you know get back in the swing of that. But again, I do just want to shout out Millicent because thank you. I'm glad this is encouraging you, Miss Constance,
Yeah.
because this is what the purpose of it is, you know. But the reason why I thank God for Millicent is because even when you know, when I moved to Georgia, I've heard so many different things. I had someone tell my sister, you need to tell your sister to move back to Polk County because she was making more motion when she was in Polk County.
Hmm.
But you know, my motion is not to be on Facebook, and my motion is already done what it needed to do in Polk.
Yeah.
Ladies Motion was meant to be international and global when God gave it to me. So that's why
Hmm.
I'm in motion with. That's why I'm in Atlanta networking with these women to put maybe the women in Polk. Now Jasmine, now you know Maya Young right here from Atlanta. Now you know Constance Smith who just commented right here in Atlanta. Now you know Millicent just because we are collabing. You know this girl from Polk done made the move. You know, so when I think about guests that are my top, let me see, Millicent, of course, because again, Millicent was a stranger and she was serious about her business. And when I was talking to her about the show, you know,
Yeah.
she did her research on my page, and me knowing her, she wasn't gonna just attach her brand to just anything, you
Right.
know. So it me being in this new like area, sometimes I can second guess myself. It's like, okay, well maybe I was doing good at home because that's my hometown. Everybody know me. Of course they're gonna support, but that's not always the case. So I can't really say that. You get what I'm saying? But in my mind,
Did
it's
you
like,
did
okay,
you did you ask me if I get what you're saying?
yes, you get what I'm saying? Because I know
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying, you
I get
know.
what you're saying.
Mhm. So, you know,
I
it's
get
like,
what you're
dang,
saying.
to have someone that seen the vision, because I just told you I had a meeting with my group of friends and none of them seen the vision. But then this stranger
Yeah.
sees the vision, like, you know, it's encouraged me. I did my episode last week afraid. I did it afraid. I was a little nervous, like, oh my God, I'm a little unready, but maybe I am ready. But you know, it's like, you know what? Let's just keep it going. Like, cause now is the time for a comeback. There's no better time than now.
And facts. And facts. So again, like what had you afraid?
I guess because again, my sister had already told me that so and so said, "Ah, since Mercedes moved, she ain't been
Yeah.
doing nothing." But really,
That was
I
kind of
just
like in your head.
it's just in my head. And again, it's not that I've not been doing anything, but I just felt like when I was at home, I was giving a lot of myself for free. Number one, I was doing it for free. I've done brand shoots for people for free. I've pulled up to take people's events to the next level for free. I've hosted events for free, done all of that. And hosting an event ain't cheap because I'm the hostess with the mostest. I gotta come with this hair done. My my makeup gotta look good. My feet gonna be on point. You know, even if I don't get my nails done, I'm gonna have a pedicure. I
You
gotta
have to
have I
drive to
gotta,
the
yeah, I gotta
venue.
drive, you know, but people, I'm doing all this for free, you know, and people expecting it to me, you know, when I first, so again, when I moved here, it was like, dang, I know that it's gonna be risky because I'm
Yeah.
doing great things at home, but I'm already doing that at home. That momentum is gonna keep going. But I'm here. Like when I first moved here, I bought a one-way ticket. It was unplanned,
Yeah.
Jazz. It was
Yeah.
unplanned. I bought a one-way ticket,
I
and
love these stories. I'm telling you, I love a one-way ticket story. Now
girl,
listen.
it was 48.98 right in the midst of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I came here, and my only goals at the time, I was just like, Lord, I just want to grow as a woman. I
Yeah.
didn't know how long I would be here. So it's like people, that's why I'm back ready for the comeback. Because me as a woman, though, I'm better, I'm stronger, I'm wiser, I'm more financially stable now after buying a one-way ticket for $48.98 with $650 in your bank account, because that's what I did. I
Yeah.
moved with $700 with a one-way ticket, 48.98, and I slept on my cousin's couch for like 3 weeks till I could get myself together,
Yeah.
but in 4 months I was assistant general manager at my job. I've been doing good. I've been making the most money I've ever made in my life. I don't put up with no one's mess. I don't play about me, and I don't let nobody else play about me. And that wasn't the Mercedes that was in Polk County. That's
Yeah.
after being here on my own for some time and having no choice but to depend on prayer, because I ain't going to Praise Temple every Sunday no more. So I
Yeah.
ain't going to church to got this and that. No, I'm on my knees. I'm praying. I'm in my room, praise dancing sometimes just to feel a relief, freedom. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that, all of that has just got, oh Lord, I'm sorry. It
Oh,
made
you're
me,
okay. Okay. Yeah.
just who I am, and unfolded this story. That's kind of what made me ready for the comeback. I feel,
So I'm telling you, like
yeah.
my formula for a successful comeback is just these three pillars. You have to have God. Like I promise you, like when we start getting into these conversations, and I always say this at some point in the conversation, as a segue, it's like I never tell people what to say. It's a natural trajectory, a natural progression into what they're saying. Um, and I'm sorry, I have to just acknowledge 11:11. Like 11:11 is like flashing on my screen, and that was like my 2 year,
Okay.
the date of my 2 year podcast anniversary live show, and I'm like, okay, I'm still seeing 11:11. So, anyways, so when I see it, I have to acknowledge it. So, like, God, number one, like you cannot do anything without Him. I just, I'm full in my faith, although I'm not as regimented as I should, but I do know for number one, like I will never say that I can do anything by myself. I can never say that it is done without Him. I know that number one, I have to have God in my life, right? You have to have God. You have to have that spiritual foundation. You have to have the right resources, but you can be around the right resources. You can literally have them at your fingertips, whether they're people, whether it's technology, whether it's a job. But if you
Mhm.
don't use those resources
Yeah.
effectively, it's not
Hmm.
going to help you, right? So having the right resources, but using them effectively and then doing the necessary work. And
Yeah.
Mercedes, when you say that, you're ready for your comeback, like all of those elements, because in asking you to do this podcast, it's like, absolutely. Like I knew I was going to get a great comeback story anyway, just by
Hmm.
following what you've been doing, like since the inception of this idea, because I've done my research, so I know about you. Like I look at your show, and so you know that move to Atlanta, when you did that, I was like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like you came back home for a minute, for a spell, but then you went back.
I'm gonna talk
And I'm
about it
like,
too.
with anything, it's like, okay, she's back, but I never saw you not working. I never saw you not doing something that you wanted to do in your passion. And then
Hmm.
when you went back, I'm like, yeah, like this girl is doing basically doing a freaking podcast at her job. And it's like we're seeing your personality. It's like you're helping customers, and you're talking to people, like
Hmm.
encouraging them. And I'm like,
I
she
love my job.
definitely continues to show with that consistency that she's serious about this. Like this is not someone that you can count out. Like I can tell that you are on a mission with this, and you've always said that you wanted your podcast to be global. That shows
Hmm.
you have vision for what this is to be. And so when we were there's a lot of things that are formulated in my head, because it's a lot that I think people just don't know about the podcasting space, that they don't know about the hosting
Hmm.
space. But just sticking a pin in the podcasting space, it's a lot of things that people just see, and they think that they know. Like, for instance, if we're on right now, we're on a live podcast right now. So it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I'll hear so many times, Jazz, I want to start a podcast. Like, I want to do that. Like, I want to do a podcast. And I'm like, that's good.
Mhm.
You want to do a podcast? If you want me to help you, sure, I will help you. But then I'll start going down the list of things. If you think you're ready for a podcast, and I tell somebody this in another intro that I use, I just didn't use it tonight, but I'll say, first of all, when you start this podcast, think about why you want to do this podcast.
Mhm.
How bad do you want it?
Mhm.
Because there are going to be days, you think you have a message that you want to give people, but is that message something that will provide longevity for you?
Right. Yeah.
Is it going to help someone? Are you going to be in it for entertainment? Are you going to be in it because you think it's going to make you popular? Are you going to
Mhm.
be in it because you think it's going to make you famous, you're going to be rich or whatever? Like, this is a saturated market, but it is for who it is for. And
Mhm.
if you have a great product, it's going to sustain itself. You've been doing this for over 3 years. I've been doing it for that. We've been on that same trajectory, right? And so
Yeah.
people think it's easy, but it's not.
It's not.
Because number one, just like you said, someone told your sister she needs to come back to Polk County because she had
Mhm.
more motion when she was in Polk County versus there. And so it's like, what's your measure of
Mhm.
motion? Because
Right.
I wouldn't care if there were 0 people watching right now.
Mhm.
What I can tell you is, if I were to go into the grocery store, if I were to go to a community leadership meeting, I can tell you that somebody is going to say, hey, I caught that episode of such and such,
Yeah.
or I've been watching your platform for a while and I love what you're doing. And then you're sitting here, you're like, well, where were you on Monday at 7
Right.
p.m.? Like,
Mhm.
I would not have even known that you would have been a fan, or whatever the case may be. And
And
like you said, um, it is just a lot of things that people don't see. Like, they'll see like the famous podcast and they're like, oh, if I'm gonna just go get this studio time, da da da. Okay, does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
Because you're gonna get studio time. Let me run you the numbers about studio time. Let me tell you that you have to book the studio. Let me tell you that you're gonna have to get you an engineer. Let me tell you that you're gonna have to get you an editor. What platform do you want? It's like, it's so many steps that they don't think about, and they just try to see like this pristine
Mhm.
picture. And so, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because, like, a lot of people will think, okay, just because she's not in the studio, she didn't make it, or because she's in the studio, okay, boom. Like,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts? Just now, you don't have to do it briefly, but what are your thoughts in this podcast space? What have you learned, my dear?
I personally feel like a lot of people want to do what they see other people doing.
Yeah,
You know, that's just the bottom line. You know what I mean?
yeah,
People want to do for whatever reason. Whether they say, "Oh, I want to start a podcast." Oh, I see Jazzy podcast. I'm sorry, I can do it better. Whether they think they can do it better or
yeah,
whatever the case may be. I don't know what people intentions be, but people have to check their intentions
yeah,
because
yeah,
what if it doesn't have a solid foundation, it's not gonna last. Even when I went home for them 5 months, I was working part-time at Hungry Crab, and people be like, you got a podcast, don't you? And I'm
yeah,
like, dang, it's been so long since I even been home,
yeah.
since I even really did my show. But people still,
I still remember.
they still remember the show, but because it was purposeful, and it made an impact, and
Mhm.
even if it didn't, like I would just, and I just know my why.
Yeah,
So if you know your why, you wouldn't be pressed. Me personally, I knew my why. So if there was not one person watching, it is what it is.
yeah,
Whether they circle back to it, that's cool. But Lord, if this video only get 10 views, I
yeah,
know that these 10 people watching it was the 10 people that you wanted to watch this
mhm,
video. It's for them. So I've been like off the whole social media
yeah,
thing anyway,
yeah,
because I just been off that anyway. So when I think about other people, doing podcasts, cool, do you, but just
yeah,
really think about your why, because you're gonna get weary in what you're doing if you are doing it for the numbers. Because like you said, so my one I just did last week is already over 2,000 views. But then I looked at a video, like I looked at a video I did some years ago, and it's at
yeah.
like 900 something views.
Right.
It is what it is,
Right.
But the people
Yeah.
that were supposed to see it,
Thought.
we
They
just
thought.
pray. We pray they saw it. So if you're going into podcasting for that only, or to get some clout on social media, you might need to rethink, your purpose. You know what I mean? Or do it for that, but just realize that you're gonna have up and down days. So like, if that's what you're getting your excitement from, like, oh, like, if I can't be, me and Millicent, we're
Yeah.
already at 2,000 views. It hasn't been a week, but if I interview Monique like I'm doing Wednesday, and if hers don't reach that, I got to be okay with that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because that's just how it go. And some people don't realize that it's not gonna always be like, great numbers, this and that. And that's what people think.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna get into this space, you definitely need to know your why, and just
Yeah.
know that it's up and down. So just know what your target audience is. Like, some people have asked me, how you speak so comfortably in the to a camera. It's like, honestly, I know who I'm talking to.
Right.
I
Exactly.
do, whether or not, or no, like, I know the group of people too that I am talking to. And yes, Velda, step into your own
Absolutely,
strengths, girl.
boo.
Step out
Hey,
and do something.
boo.
Do it. Because
Yeah.
even right now, it's 2025. I'm here in Atlanta. I'm doing this podcast, which I'm really excited about. But I stepped out on faith when I moved here. So why would I not keep walking in faith?
Absolutely.
I'll be a
Absolutely.
fool to do that. So in me, it's like, you know what? This is what I move here, Lord. I'm gonna grow this year. Like, this year, I'm on my own neck. We just talking about this. I'm on my
Absolutely.
own neck. This is the dopest comeback that you're all finna see. And God is in the forefront of this, so it ain't no stopping me. So if
Yeah.
you got a problem, you better take that up with the man upstairs, because you finna be real hurt this year. I'm telling you, this is
Absolutely.
my year, my season. I ain't never went nowhere. I'm a better me because I've been doing the work. In this meantime, though, even when I went back home, I shared this on this at another podcast.
Yeah.
I got a DUI a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that DUI, I didn't get like arrested, thank God. Uh
Yeah. Look, thank you, Jesus. God, like, listen, she got stuff to do.
girl, because it is not fun. I did later on, and it is not fun. Okay, so let
Yeah.
me tell you, I ended up getting a DUI a few years ago
Mhm.
because I was, and this is also when I moved to Atlanta. I just was so deep in prayer. I had I just wanted to grow as a woman. I was
Yeah.
ignoring my intuition, but I learned not no more. But when I moved here, I was just still ignoring maybe my intuition, knowing better, but not really doing better. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I went somewhere, because again, when I started Ladies in Motion and Talk It Out, when I started all them years ago, I'm telling you, I was on everybody's team. Everybody wanted me to pull up. They had something going on. Oh my God, I got this going on. I want you to pull up. Da, da, da. So I ended up connecting with someone who I don't think I should have connected with.
Yeah.
You can't say everybody no means no, and everybody don't deserve a yes. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody can't be aligned with your brand. Everybody can't get on the Ladies in Motion in the Jazzie with Conversations podcast. You know
Mm.
what I mean? But anyway, I went somewhere I knew I shouldn't have been going.
Yeah.
And I went there anyways. And my intentions, I just wanted to show face. I said, okay, I'm just gonna show up for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go where I really want to go. But when I
Mm-hmm.
got there, they're like, oh no, you can't leave, you can't, all this other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm there, I'm having a good time. I'm drinking and Jazzy. I don't even drink like that. So
Listen.
I don't know why I was drinking. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a wine sipper, but
Mm-hmm.
as far as like liquor, I couldn't even remember. But prior to that day, I couldn't even remember the last time I had even drank liquor. You
But
know,
you made some good drinks. I'm just saying, because Hungry Crab have like
listen,
we're here. But
listen, you
I
ain't know, because when I went back to Hungry Crab, they, girl, whatever.
yeah.
Anyways, but speaking of, I have a lot of great things going this year. Okay, but long story short,
Yeah.
I got this DUI, and I still don't drink and drive, people, because
Right.
what happened was I left this event that I knew I wasn't supposed to be at anyways, ended up drinking, doing whatever, and because I knew that I was supposed to be just passing through, I said, okay, bye y'all, I'm gonna go to where I was really going. I left, and I never made it to where I was going. I guess I drove to the nearest place that I was familiar with,
Yeah.
and funny story. That place just so happened to be my like high school sweetheart's house. Like, when
Oh wow.
we was together for 4.5 years, and I drove to where he used to live. Luckily, he didn't live there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling this story because this can be a blessing to somebody. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I fell asleep in this lady's driveway, and I fell asleep on the horn. So the horn was going off. Okay. And I'm not proud of this, but I am at the same time because I've overcome that. I'm done with that. So it's just a blessing. I have nobody but God to thank for bringing me through that situation. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm sharing this. And that's why I don't play with nobody who's gonna get in. I don't care how much you done drank. If I think you tipsy, you can think that you are okay and never know, because I thought I was okay. Even though
Yeah.
I never really drank liquor, I felt okay at first, but apparently I wasn't, because I subconsciously drove somewhere that and fell asleep. And anyways, long story short, I had to appear in court, to do all this, because I didn't get arrested. I think because I was wasted. The dude said, I was wasted, whatever the case. So he gave me a slap on the wrist and just gave me a thing. I had to appear in court, do all this stuff.
So
Even
did
when
you have to like just stay where you were? Because I always wonder that. Like, did they just make you stay in the car? Like, what was that?
So this is how the police even end up coming. The lady was a nice lady, an older black woman. She said
Yeah.
that she called the ambulance because I was just drunk, and it was me and my brother. I was in the car with someone. And I just thank God. Like, when I think back,
Yeah.
it's like my brother is a father. Anything could have happened. I could have took anything, just could have happened, bro. I could have took somebody else's life. I could have took my own life, my brother's
Right.
life, my nephew's dad. Oh my God. Just every time,
Yeah.
every after the fact, every time I thought about it, I would just cry, you know.
Mhm.
But I the reason why I brought it up is because I went through all that, and in Florida they don't even play. Even though I wasn't driving, my car was pushed to start, but it's like if your keys was in the ignition, then it's a DUI.
Oh
Had they
wow.
been out the ignition, or I've been in the passenger seat, it would have been okay. But because I was asleep and I was in the driver's seat, even though I was
Yeah.
parked, I ended up getting in trouble. But anyways, I had to go through a probation, do all this and that. And when I ended up moving home, and
Mhm.
it was because I was, manager at my job. I was doing this certification, and it found out that the lady, like, I was on probation. The lady violated me this whole time. I had violated my probation and didn't know. So I had to go home, do community service, do all this BS. And
Yeah.
but when I went home, I was like, you know what? It's okay. Maybe it's time for me to come home. I love home. Let me just, whatever, whatever. And when I went home, it was cool. I picked back where I left off. I went back to hosting the fashion show, went back to doing my podcast. It was just like nothing. It's nothing for me to do that. So that's why I don't be stressing home anyways. It's nothing for me to go home and do what I've already done.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The goal is to expand. So that's why I'm here doing my thing. But anyways, I went and did that. But while I was there handling my business, I felt like, because I was grateful, I just had a spirit of gratitude. God opened up the door for me to come back to Atlanta. And the restaurant I was managing, she just reached out, and she's like, actually, I seen your sister, and your sister told me you're thinking about moving back to Atlanta. I said,
Yeah.
I am, but maybe in the summer. I was gonna go maybe in the summer or whatever. And she's like, well, we love our restaurant, ran the smoothest when you was over it. So if you will come back, we'll pay you this. We'll give you this. Like, more than I even asked for. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Say no more, because I wanted to come back here anyways. And so now, just being back here, I feel like God has given me a new opportunity. I am a new woman, new eyes, like a new mindset, just everything. I feel like such a better woman. I really do. Like, when you think like a child, what they say, you move like a child, whatever. Say, I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
But once you put away those childish
Those
ways,
childish
like,
things. Yeah.
you really, I can feel the elevation in my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I moved home, it's because I had to handle business, but business was handled, and now I'm back to the mission purpose. So I'm
Yeah.
grateful for this 2025 season. I really, really am.
Listen, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you because you in that story that you just told, like just telling what you went through, you really described some key components of when we go through a struggle or when we come up against a hindrance. It's all about perspective, and it's about how you
Mhm.
handle it. You don't look at it as an L, like
Mm.
it's not a loss, it's a lesson. So it's
I
like,
take
be grateful that you're getting ready to learn this lesson.
and
And it's
having accountability
accountability,
is the
having
biggest thing.
gratitude, like saying, like let's preface it as I get to do this, like I get to start over, or I get to get something right.
Mhm.
I get to learn this particular lesson, and then you get to go back to an area where you said Atlanta is for expansion anyway. And look at how many doors God
It's been
opened.
great.
Yeah. So when you say things like last week when I did my podcast episode, I did it out of fear, but I still did it anyway. Like how do you explain that feeling? Because you and I have similar stories when it comes to why we started this podcast. We kind of have similar themes,
Mhm.
purposes as to what the podcast is. And so when you are living in that purpose, how can you put it into words? How do you communicate what that feels like? Like when you know that you're all you know is
Mhm.
that you have to keep going because you
Mhm.
know that God is going to provide. The provision is there. Like what does that feel like? How do you describe that to people?
Honestly, faith, that's just really what it is. Hey, Simone. It's
Hey,
really
mom.
just my faith. I
Yeah.
have the utmost faith in God right now. You know, God, you gave me this for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm going to carry it out. And so now it's to the point where, like, I know what'll happen if I do it and stop, but it is time for me to go 10 times harder. Like, it really, really is. It's
Yeah.
time for me. Like, why am I second guessing something that God has already shown me? So now it's like, you know what? I did my interview last week. It's like, you know what? My girl told me this and it stuck with me, and I said this on the show. She said, listen, you're super dope. You got it, girl. You got a good personality. You got the look. I'm looking at your brand look good. Like, from your grammar and your captions. She just poured into me. And to hear that from a stranger when it's people from Bartow, my Bartow peeps, that that don't support me, and they've known me since youngin. So, and for me, that blows my mind, because if you know me, I really am a good person. My heart is the biggest heart. Like, really, you can finesse me easy because my
Yeah.
heart's so big, and certain people do know that. That's why they have finessed me in the past. You know,
She said, listen,
seriously. But my heart is,
let me just let you know that I know that
girl.
you do.
You know, so my
And I'm
heart,
still gonna win.
yes, and my heart is so big, so people know that.
Yeah.
So with now it's just going from people who are literally had known me, my hometown. I never been in no drama. I ain't never been no drama. I'll
Yeah.
never be in no mess. Like, I've always been who I am. I've always been, and I've been intentional. I remember being in the second grade, being like, I'm gonna intentionally, when I see people publicly, smile at them. I'm not gonna give them a unit. Like, I remember having this because a white woman told me, black women are known to be rude. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, dang, all the black women I know are so nice, so like this. And I say, well, you know what? I'm gonna be real intentional about not being that. Then that's what y'all think. Okay, So I've always just been that way, and I just remember purpose when it comes to that. Like, I know that purpose, souls are at stake. It's purpose attached to me. It's people. I'm on an assignment and souls are at stake. I really do believe that. Another thing, sometimes we're just scared because I'll speak of me. Sometimes I'm scared with what comes on the other side of the obedience.
Yeah.
But I've already done the disobedient and the wrong thing, that I'm done with that. Now I'm just ready to walk and just do the right thing. I'm ready to see what's on the other side of that. I'm ready to, the Bible tells us that we seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So that's
Absolutely.
how I'm moving. I'm ready to seek ye first the kingdom of God and all its righteousness for real this time.
Absolutely.
Not for fake, not lukewarm, not just whatever, but for real this time. And
Yeah.
just see what's on the other side of this obedience. If my husband is on the other side of obedience, then Lord,
Listen.
I'm gonna be obedient. You know what I'm saying? If whatever is on the other side of me being obedience and persistent in my purpose, then that's what I'm gonna do in this season. Like, it's time for me to stop playing with me. If you want to still play with me, that's cool, but you do it over there, because I'm not gonna let you
Yeah.
do it, and I'm not doing it to myself. Why would I let you play with me if I'm not playing with me?
Absolutely. Do it
That's
right
my mind.
away.
That's the mind.
So
Okay.
listen, thrive in 2025. That's what I say. And this is a year of growth. This is the year, I
Yeah.
love that, of being obedient, because like that growth part, it's a lot of things that I find that I have to be obedient with.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna tell you, like, one of my growth areas is just that outlook on something that you touched upon. And I have this caption still up that Simone put. By the way, Simone, I just want to personally say thank you so much for just being just a dope supporter of everyone that you come in contact with, that you see value in. Like, I've been in several different spaces with you, and you offer the same type of support, and that just it feels good. You know what I mean? Like, it feels good. And I've never had to question whether or not, oh, is Simone genuine or not. It's just like, you
Right.
just truly are good people. Like, you
Mhm.
really, you show support, and I really do appreciate that. And so she put the caption up, but they'll tell Janet Jackson happy birthday. Like, we were talking about the
Yeah.
um and I think, like, one of the things that I said I was going to stop focusing on, but it's very hard, is that support factor. Because I was looking at it, and you said, like, a key word. You said, but my friends. It's not like you said my associates or people that I know said such and such. It's like I'm trying to work on accepting what I see
Mhm.
and accepting what comes from what I see. You get what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
I do.
Like, I am a bag lady, and the bag lady that Erica Badu spoke of, like,
Mhm.
I carry, like, a lot of things, and it's like some things I'm gonna have to learn to let go. And it's like sometimes things are seasonal, but because I'm trying to hold on, like, baby, if I have groceries in the car, I'm trying to pick up every bag because I don't want to make a second trip. Like,
Right.
it's I go with the familiar. I go with, no, like, I've known you since such and such, so I gotta
Mhm.
carry you here. But I mean, it's hurtful when you're trying to do something that God wants you to do.
Yeah.
You know how um how special it is. You know how much effect size the change is going to be, that you are going to start with, just by being obedient and following what God told you to do. It's so special to you. And it's like, and you try to flip it on the other end, like, oh my gosh, if my friend was doing this, if you are doing something that doesn't even make sense to me,
Mhm.
because you are my friend and you believe in it so passionately, I'm going to support you. I'm going to post it, I'm going to share it, I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell people about it, because you're my friend, and because I believe in you. And so, for me, it's so hurtful, because I don't go with the excuse of, we all have busy lives. Do you know how busy my life is? My life is incredibly tangled all into different facets, right?
Yeah.
But my heart is so big, because I
Mhm.
truly want everyone around me to win. It's
Yeah.
like, if I find a peephole of how I can squeeze you in to
Mhm.
elevate, I'm gonna do that. That's
Yeah.
just the person that I am. Like, if you're in my circle, and even when you're not in my circle, I do the same thing. So that's why it really does hurt me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that it does not. It affects me. It
It
hurts
does.
when I don't get that same thing in return, especially when it's coming from, people that you love, and people that you've grown up with, and they know how important something is for you. And it's not like, girl, so what? No, it's not a girl, so what? I'm so serious about that. It's kind of like that same thing that Oprah said, like, a long time ago, like, when you put Lil in front of it,
Mhm.
doing your
Okay.
little thing, or you doing your, and I'm like,
You know how many times? Oh, you still do your little podcast? Oh, you still do your little show? It's like, listen, my little show doing numbers, and my little
yeah,
show got other people trying to do what I'm doing. So what are we really saying?
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like this, and if it's little to you, cool. It's not for you.
yeah.
Unfollow me. Do whatever you do. Go tell Jen Jackson happy birthday. Go watch her show.
Listen,
You know what I'm saying? Go do that. But
yeah,
again, to some people, it is what you can bring to them. But what I learned also, just home, and after moving from my home moving from my hometown, um,
yeah,
God will put the people in place. You know what I mean? Because even
Yeah.
if I'm telling you, God is so good, I can't even just stress it enough. But
Yeah.
when I moved back home, I remember making a decision like, dang, maybe I should go home, just handle my business. Da, da, da. When I went home, I remember Maya, one of the young ladies that commented on here. I remember being like, man, and telling people like, dang, I'm just, I'm a little confused because things was getting great in Atlanta. Like before I went back home for a few months, but again, I had to go back and handle that business. That, lady, I ain't even gonna give her no energy. Whatever, then violated me. I to go home, do
Listen.
community service, and I'm like, ma'am, my life is community service. Like I volunteer year round.
Yeah.
All go back and forth from Georgia to Florida just to volunteer my time because I'm passionate about my community. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. You know what I mean? But I know, girl, it done
Listen.
threw me off.
Yeah.
But God is just so good. I don't even remember what I was about to say. I'm
I feel like because we were talking about that support system. You said God will sift
in
it
the
out.
people. So
Yeah.
look, real quick. So Maya, the one that you just see, I love this girl. Okay. Again, I met her because I managed her at a place, and then
Yeah.
I ended up moving back to Georgia. I mean, back to Florida for that little bit. And even right before I moved her, we had a conversation. She's like, "Oh, I love Ladies in Motion," and she had something going on that I really like too. So we talked about collabing and just growing together, doing our thing, and the whole time I was home, I'm like, man, I'm just torn. I'm thinking about going back to Atlanta because, I'm up here all stressed because this going on. But really, God was sending the people. I just met this person. I met this person. That's what I was telling him. Since I've been back, Maya, she employed with me now, still at my same spot. I love this young lady, but she do graphic design and everything else. We had one conversation, I'm talking about hiring a virtual assistant, doing whatever. We had one conversation. I woke up this morning, this girl sent me notes like, this is what we doing to take Ladies Emotion to the next level.
No, that's
And
right.
and just sending me notes. I'm like, okay, this is what I like because I had told you I had a meeting with my friends and nobody got it.
Listen.
She told me straight up. One of my homegirls told me straight up, I like your vision, but I can't support you right now. I
Yeah.
don't have time for Ladies in Motion right now.
Yeah.
And then guess what? Another one of them same friends, the moment I had my first Talk It Out episode, they seen that numbers was doing good. They make a status. They want to hashtag Ladies in Motion. I say, oh,
Yeah.
not the ones that told me that they didn't have time to support this.
Yeah.
But you know me. You know
Yeah.
me since a kid. You know my heart. So I expected you to support this regardless. Like you said, if I'm your friend, I'm rocking with you till the wheels fall off. But
Listen,
Jasmine, I want
I
to say
have a
something
friend that
about you.
if you want to go try and sell snow
Yes,
in the ice section of a store, I'm
baby,
just like, friend,
I'm coming with
no
you.
shirts. I got my snowman shirt on. Like,
Yeah,
what
we
you
gonna shake it
need?
for the snow. Like
Like, what
we
you
doing what we
mean?
gotta do.
This don't make no
Yeah.
sense. But I got you, sis. And then let's talk about how we gonna strategize on how to make it make sense. But like, yo,
But I
like,
want to say something about you. Because she
okay,
said God's children support their own. And Jasmine, you really have been supportive. Like, from the beginning, you've been supportive. And even with me being here, like, I done hit you up on some last minute stuff and you done co-hosted
yeah,
shows for me. I remember people hitting me up like, hey, I got this event coming up. Can you
yeah,
host? No, but I got a perfect host for you,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
gonna send Jasmine their way.
yeah.
I done reached out, Ziggy. Yo, no, Jasmine, you not available? Let me. I got two people that I know I'm gonna
Right,
call. If somebody reach out to me, I'm gonna send Jasmine and I'm gonna send Ziggy.
right,
And you go every time.
yeah.
Not a question, like questioning. I appreciate you hosting my episode with Tamika. I appreciated that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I just that's what Ladies in Motion was created for. It wasn't a brand just to put me on no platform.
yeah,
It's for all women that's winning. And if I'm unavailable, they should be able to call Jasmine. And what I'm working on now with my site, we're gonna talk about this and other things, but I want them to be able to come to the site and you need a host and book your host. And it don't gotta be just me, but you can
right.
book Jasmine from the Ladies Emotion site. You can book Ziggy from Ladies Emotion site. Also, whoever you want, whichever one of us float your boat, but whichever one you choose, your
Yeah,
event's gonna be dope. We're all the hostess with the mostest. So which
yeah.
one you want?
And
Either
I
way
do,
we
and I
go.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
I do. I appreciate that because like sometimes like even you're into women's empowerment, and sometimes when people say that, like I'm an observer, so I sit back and I'll watch, and I'm like, let me,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta watch how they move,
Yeah.
because
And are
you
you really?
know I just, because that's just how I am. Like, let me see what your coin phrase is, and then let me see how you work it. Let me see if you truly mean it. And I know that you mean it. So it's that is you being your brand, you being the brand that you say you are. It's me watching how people react to you and how they respond to you. And I even told you this. I think I made a social media post. I was like, yo, when you had King Curry to step in and like produce the show. I'm like, this girl is literally in Atlanta. She has, her friend said that he would hold down the fort and
And
record
that's what he
that
did.
episode. I was, and when I say he represented your brand so well. It's like
Thank
I felt
you.
so comfortable with him. I had never like met him personally like that. Like I've seen his brand and seen
Mm-hmm.
like the funny posts that he does, but I was just looking at him and I told him, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I know you have to know this. Like, I feel like Mercedes probably has told you this before. But said, I just want to tell you this. I said, doing this like by myself, and this girl is like in Atlanta and she's entrusting you to do this episode, and the way that you are doing it, I said, you are such a good friend. And I said, continue being that for her, because you just don't understand how critical that is, to just know if just one person has your back like that. I was like,
Seriously,
it
it's
just was amazing to me.
girl.
I was like, yeah, yeah, you got to keep her in him. If I need to share that with you, I felt like I just needed
Mm-hmm.
to share that with you, because it's so far and few in between, and it shouldn't be that way. But I was like, yeah, you got
Mm-hmm.
the winner right there.
Thank you, girl.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. And Jasmine, you keep doing your thing. I want you to tell me in advance about your anniversary show
will do.
because
It's always in November. So it's in November, and I had to. It was typically always the first week in November.
mm-hmm,
But then FAMU backed up their homecoming. They always had their homecoming the week of my birthday,
they
which is
do.
like the last weekend in October,
They
right? And
do.
so they moved it to the first week in November. So I had to move it to the second week in November, because I want to go to homecoming, right?
Yes.
Although that first week is sentimental to me. So it's always going to be the second weekend in November.
Okay, good. Because October, November, that's competition season. I went
Yeah.
home 3 times in October. And then I was home 2 times in November already again because the thing. And by the time I was like, dang,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
but I
So
know, and I'm gonna plan that before I plan any cheer anything. I'm gonna plan to
please
come down. I'm
thank
about
you,
listen. I'm
because I
already
do
coming
want you
down
there.
next week. Yes, but I
Yeah.
want to be there to just support you. Like you've been
Yeah.
so supportive. I want to be in the building to support you, not just share a flyer or
Yeah.
repost it. I want to actually be in the building to support you. So,
And I appreciate that. I do. Like I will definitely make sure
hey, Selena.
that you know about it. Right. Hey, Selena. I love me some Selena. Her pretty self. I like this what Elena said. It's not in who we know, it's who we show, who will show.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned that. So that, ooh, shucks. It's just
Listen,
it's hard out here on these streets
it's
sometimes.
hard.
Like you just like that mean I gotta drop several people.
It's hard, but when I tell you like something that I struggle with that I feel like I'm just now like
Yeah.
being okay with like the people that I've lost along the way. It's like, dang, you know what? Because I'm one of
Yeah.
those, I love hard. I love my family hard. They're my life. I do all this for my family. I don't have any of my own children. But I remember being a child praying about certain things for my family. I remember this like
Yeah.
vividly. So even to be in the space I am now, just on the track, I truly do feel like, Lord, you about to answer some prayers that I prayed when I was a little
Listen,
girl.
and
You know
you
what
are,
I mean?
and he is.
So, and he is,
Yeah.
and he already has been.
Right.
So, I'm
Yeah.
just trusting that. But it's hard when you get when you find your people, you gotta keep them. Curry, it was nothing for me to Curry. That's how we got locked in. I've known Curry since high school. But
Yeah.
I told you, once I started my LIM, my little crew, I tried to get them
Yeah.
in. Nobody was on there. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I'm a ladies in motion, but I'm an army of one. But
Listen.
but Curry was the first person that was like, dang, I actually see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I promise you from this day forward, whatever you need from me, I got you. And Curry has been there for
Yeah.
me. Like random moments, like you said, that moment with the interview. Cause I had to work. I was doing that interview. I was at work.
Right.
And I think I had Curry set up and I was doing the production though from my iPad.
Right.
And Curry set me up and he was doing my behind the scene. He got all the real footage that you see. Curry sent me that, you
Yeah.
know.
I said, well, God,
And
I said, well, because I could see him like I'm doing the interview, and I'm like,
yeah,
in my brain, I'm like, that is what I'm
that's what
talking
you
about. Like,
need, right?
so I'm like, I wanted to stop the episode.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's
well,
what it's
first,
about.
I want to say, hey, Danny, that's my nephew, Danny. I wanted to, because I see him. Listen, I don't even know if I should. Listen,
It's hard,
when I
Simone.
say my nephew is not even really in a position where he should like can support me how he supports me. And I just said, I hope I get in a position. I can't wait. And I hope and I wish when I get in a position that I want to be in, when I say that's somebody that I'm gonna look out for because nephew supports. And I'll share why he can't. It's so crazy that he like right now my nephew was saying this is dope or whatever. So I'm like, nephew, please trust that God is gonna bless me to get you. So
Mm-hmm.
um um Simone is saying I struggle with that too, Sadie's. I still
It's
struggle with
hard.
friendships I've lost. I give
Mm-hmm.
the moon and the stars. And so yeah, and then when you get minimum sometimes. And I just I don't know. For me, first of all, Mercedes, you said you're 32, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at people like you who are like advanced, so far advanced when it comes to just being able to recognize who you are,
Mm-hmm.
you've gone through that drama of being in a long-term relationship, losing yourself, been there, done that. I did it for 10 years. You did it. It took you a shorter amount of time, which it should have, but it happens. It's life. You know what I'm saying? Where you feel like you lost yourself. You learned that lesson when you were supposed to, because we're all on different trajectories. God has
Mm-hmm.
a purpose for everything. So I get it. But I get excited when I hear younger women, young men who've experienced some of these things. And it's like they know what they want to do at an earlier age. Because I'm 45. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like I still feel that life that a 32-year-old would have. But
Right.
it's like society and just in life in general, that age is like 45. Okay, 32, 45. That's 13 years. Like I'm 13 years
That's so
behind
crazy.
you in terms of, like these things that you just have come to accept, the things that you are chasing in your dreams. Now, granted, I was chasing those dreams, right out of college, and I still am. So that's like a longer time, but the impact I feel like it's the same. Like
Mm-hmm.
you guys, y'all are like, I love y'all because y'all are like gold diggers for real, like
Mm-hmm.
GOAL. Like you don't have to have a certain degree in something to know that that's what you want and you're gonna chase it. It doesn't matter. So y'all inspire me. Like I'm like, and sometimes it's like, hell, maybe I was meant to have a tribe of like younger people versus people who are like who I'm thinking are supposed to be my tribe.
Right.
Like I don't know. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
when I was getting at, because what Simone is saying, like you don't have to well, that the ones that you may not have show up for you or they just give you minimum. I was just saying for me, I used to say that it doesn't take a lot for you to be like a good friend to me. And I think that that's the problem, because when I look at
Right.
it, ultimately, like
Mm-hmm.
that loyalty piece, but you having my back, like you checking in with me, like there's no way in the world, like there's only one person that I know. There's a few people because with college and with distance and all of that, but like really, really, there's probably like two or three people. There's three people, four or five. I give five people. Lord, I'm just getting. That's what I'm saying. That's my problem. I give too much. So like, there's literally five people that are out of state right now that I used to jive with in college. That if they can't, like, it doesn't bother me that we talk maybe 3 times a year, because
Mm-hmm.
when we get back together, like that bond is still strong.
It's just that.
But to me, that should not happen with someone who's in your same city,
Agreed.
in your social, like in your circle. Like we literally, I don't know. Like I love for people to in this season for me.
Mm-hmm.
You when I say the growth part, I started asking people because do people think I'm selfish? Like, do people just see me chasing my dreams and I'm with my boys, I'm with my kids, whatever. But like just what Simone said, Jazz is everywhere. If you include me or if you invite me, I'm gonna try everything in my power to show up for you.
Right.
That's just my personality. Like that's how I show love, right? And so I'm just like, for me, just at least give me the same thing back, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so I'm like, do people just feel like I'm just for self? Like they just see me chasing this dream and it's like, well, you haven't equally given it to me. And what I've started to do is say, how can I show up for you? Like,
Good
what
question.
does me showing up for you look like?
Mm-hmm.
All I can do is show up how you tell me to show up.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't show up in any other way, you can't be mad at me because I specifically asked you, what is it
Yeah.
that you need from me? How can
Mm-hmm.
I show up for you? So I don't know. Like it's tricky, but it's hurtful. Like
It
I would
is.
be,
Let
I
me
would
tell
be
you
remiss
something.
to not say that it's hurt. It is so freaking hurtful.
It is hurtful, Jasmine. I personally, this season, like I said, no more bare minimum. I'm on my
Yeah.
own neck. You can't play with me. I'm not playing with me. And I'm low key, like I'm gonna be me, but I'm giving the same energy. Like if you don't support me, cool. But guess what? I'm not supporting you either. Honestly, Jasper, that's how what I'm on. Okay, that's what I'm on this season. You know, if you're gonna bare minimum support me, guess what? I'm gonna bare minimum support you. You know, and
Thank you.
straight
Thank
up,
you.
that's just what it is. Like that's what I'm on right now. You know, and that's just what it is. So if you wanna
Yeah.
only like my podcast, great. I'm only gonna like yours. But if you gonna share mine,
Wait a minute now.
if you gonna share mine, then guess what? I'm gonna share yours, you know. But if you're not, I'm not doing
Yeah.
that because I'm
Yeah.
done. Like I said before, when I was at home, I was doing that. I was on every scene for free,
For free.
which I don't mind. But you won't even share my podcast. And when you see me, so I seen your little show. Okay, cool. But you didn't share my little show, even if you seen it. But you want me at your show with my microphone, with my camera, with my followers. Hey y'all, it's
You
not a
you
movie,
want
but
me to you
behind
want
the
me to
scenes at
pay.
this.
Listen, you want me to pay to get into your event.
You want me to come pay to get in your event and still come with my microphone, my podcast, my platform, and everything. The least you can do is give me a media pass.
Yeah.
You and then you want me you girl, I can go on this all day because we just been doing this for a long time, and this has just taught me a lot. But it also just, again, I'm unapologetic about it. Like you said, if you support me, cool. I'm not supporting you, and I'm
Yeah.
unapologetic about it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It is what it is because you
Yeah.
don't have to support me because the next person gonna support me. But again, I still will be me, even if you don't support me and you never show a thing. Cool, but if you got an event coming up and I think it is purposeful and it's somebody might need to see this, I'm gonna share it because guess what?
Yeah.
That be happening. It's people at whatever. But when I was home, I was pulling up at events.
Yeah.
I'm showing love, but y'all don't show me no love. Y'all ain't showing. Y'all ain't talk. Y'all ain't sharing. Talk it out. You ain't genuinely supporting ladies in motion. Whatever you maybe want to connect because you see it's doing numbers, and
Yeah.
that's what I was getting a lot of. Like when I first
Yeah.
started talking out, I seen a lot of people they want to be connected to me because ladies in motion was doing them numbers. Everybody, oh okay. Now the people see about the podcast. Oh, so I want to be attached to Mercedes. Oh, ladies in motion, ladies in motion. But where you at when I was in Atlanta and I'm not making as much motion? Is you really supporting me? Because
Yeah.
now we back up. And I would tell people that Lazy Motion ain't went nowhere. God gave me that. So I don't care what whoever's doing. I don't. I don't
Absolutely.
care what. Because God gave me Lazy Motion. Either way, they're not going to be able to do what I do respectfully because
Yeah.
God gave me this platform. This is my platform.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people, well, people who, I think there's a certain level where it's cool to have healthy competition, but
Yeah.
not really. Because I don't ever feel like in a space of friendship you should be competing at all. But I've seen people who have businesses where it's just like they're going to help one another, but at the end of the day, especially if it's something that we are doing that's similar, um there's a healthy competition. You know what I mean? It's like you're not withholding resources. Just like you said, we both host. if you can't do it, then I have two people that I have
Yeah.
that's going to definitely boost your show or whatever, that's going to get your show right. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be promoting myself as the dopest host that you need to book me as well. Like
Right.
that's like,
But
to me,
there's
that's
no shade.
interchangeable. That's healthy.
Yeah.
That's healthy competition. It is
Mm-hmm.
collaboration, yes, it is, but we're not doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so I consider that, and that probably was like on the low end of the totem pole in terms of a perfect example. But I feel like, like if we're in a spirit of doing that, like that's gonna be in that perfect world of, yeah, we're in this and we're gonna help one another, we're gonna give one another resources. But then it's like, when you're in that same space with someone and we're talking about like with your platform, with my platform, with being with the empowerment piece, it's like you truly have to mean what you say,
Yeah.
because you're going to run across women who are doing the same things. You're going to run across women who are doing way more numbers, who are doing way more things than you, and you have to stay steadfast with, I can learn from this person. Like, she's not someone that is my competitor, she's someone I want to learn from. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she's so dope. Like, it should be something that I'm getting from her. Like, I shouldn't be trying to shut her out so I can advance. That's not how it works. Every God has given every person their own lane. And it
Yeah.
is something that you keep reiterating. I don't care if somebody has something that looks like this. Hell, I
Mm-hmm.
don't have people that don't really, you might as well, hell, what you doing? Your name almost sounds like the name of my podcast. Like,
Right.
and you're doing the same thing. Like, what the freak?
Right.
I still didn't show any hate, anything like that. And I'm just like, let's see how long this genuinely lasts, because
Yeah.
where did that come from? You know what I'm
Because if
saying?
it's genuine, it's gonna
If
last.
it's genuine, it's gonna last. If it's for you, it's going to last. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm like, I don't understand why it's any shade against anybody. Well, people are gonna be people,
People
whatever.
gonna be
I
people.
don't understand why it is like this fear of, oh, let me keep this person out of the room. When God has a plan for you,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you don't even have to be invited in the room. Sometimes
Okay.
the room comes to you.
I'm telling you.
And that's what I have learned.
Let me tell
Hi,
you.
London. London is on my
Mm-hmm.
phone and he's watching. Thank you, baby, for supporting.
Hey, London.
Um, almost birthday boy on January 15th. I can't wait to celebrate
Okay.
you. So thank you for listening. When
On
I
the
say that's
AKA Founders Day.
when I say that's my Jazzy crew right there, him and that Xavier,
That's
that's
your
those my
Jazzy
King
crew.
Curries right there.
Amen. That's what's up. That's what's up.
But yeah, I just everyone has their own lane, everyone has their own space, and I feel like you are a person who has definitely exemplified that. Like, you have set this precursor for people who are looking at you, and even people who will see you from this podcast, but
Mhm.
you are a person who has molded the path of never giving up, being persistent, knowing what
Mhm.
God has for you, and moving forward, and doing so gracefully, with
Amen.
hard work, with
Hmm. Yeah.
with any kind of adversary at
Straight up.
adversity that you come against. And so,
Mhm.
what do you have in store? What's coming up for Miss Madam Walker? What's in store?
Honestly, I'm just super excited for 2025. I have the dopest lineup for Talk It Out this season. I'm just so grateful for the women that I've been meeting. I really, really am. I just feel like this season is gonna be an elevated season. After the bar is up, like it's gonna be like after this season, it's gonna be hard for you to be on my show. You definitely got to
I know
be.
that's right. She said it's gonna be hard for you.
Listen, yeah, smart. I
If
said what
y'all
I
didn't catch
said.
that, please catch what we saying, okay? Please catch what we saying.
Listen, I said what I said.
Listen, Mercedes, what is the fee to be on your show, baby?
But
Okay.
so it's because even because people ask me, is it that? So it's thank you so much, Simone.
Yes.
So I will say I don't have a fee, and I don't
Yeah.
ever really want to like charge people. It was like that wasn't
Yeah.
the intention for me to ever charge people for the show. So for my weekly show, I'll never charge any of those guests.
Yeah.
Okay, and I hope no one's like, oh, if you want to interview me, I have to interview you because I'm gonna maybe pass up on the opportunity because
Right.
that wasn't what
That's
this was
like, yeah.
about.
Yeah.
That wasn't it. Because for me, the money, if that's what you're seeking, the money's gonna come. Like I'm gonna interview you, the money gonna come because somebody gonna see this interview and
Yeah.
they're gonna book me. Future and later on down the line, they're gonna book me to host the event
Right.
anyway. So I don't even care about that. And you shouldn't be tripping because I'm interviewing you, somebody gonna book your
Yeah.
services. So it shouldn't be that. But this year, I have the dopest lineup
Yep.
for Ladies in Motion, Talk It Out. I'm really looking forward to that and just the connections it would bring. Y'all, I'm so excited. Oh my God. Because people that I've just been following kind of even since I first moved here, like I just slide in their DMs like, hey girl, I've been following you for a long time, but
Uh-huh.
I've been telling them the time is now. So I hope you're ready. And they have been ready. So it's people that I just didn't even dream I would be able to interview that I have on my lineup. I'm just
Yeah.
looking forward to it because these are dope women doing great things. So I'm looking forward to that. So y'all can expect a lot of great, like just a lot of women that's winning on Talk It Out. I'm working on just like getting my foundation solid. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a lot of things on the business tip just
Yeah.
to get that foundation solid. And I don't want to talk too much about that, but I'm doing a lot of things business wise on the back end to make sure that the Ladies in Motion foundation is solid. So you can
Yeah.
look forward to that. I am going to open a new business this year.
Okay.
Yes, and it's going to be mobile bartending. I have not solidified the name. So
Ooh.
I know so many people have asked me, and it's so weird because at home I'm known for Ladies in Motion, Talk It Out, coaching
Yeah.
cheer, but here everyone knows me as the Rock and Crab restaurant manager. It's just so I. It's crazy, but luckily, even then, I'm just grateful to be in a place where I love what I do. Also, though, I do love what I do, and I haven't loved what I've done since I stopped working for the school board. So,
Gotcha.
it's a blessing to be in this field, loving what I do and loving the money that I make. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm just gonna be being consistent with Ladies in Motion this year. That's the main goal, though. Aside from the mobile bar business, which I'm super excited about. I'm really excited about that just because I love, bartending is if like I would bartend all the time. That's something that I feel like I would do all the time. It's quick, easy, good money, and I love making a drink that tastes so good. And after you drink it, you feeling like, hey, what happened here? All of a sudden you woozy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. That makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
that
just
really
do one.
does.
Just do one because I'm a whole complete lightweight. Yeah.
So yeah, I personally just love that. So, but this year for me is just about coming back and being consistent with LIM because in my all I keep saying is, listen, if I be consistent this one season here, if it can do what it did for me at home, cool, I'm
Yeah.
great. And I know it is because Atlanta's just a little bit different. I feel like the support here is like it's
Yeah.
it's it's good support here.
Yeah.
They don't have to know you your whole life. You could be a stranger, but it's like genuine. People do be tripping. Some people crazy, but the support when you get it, it is good.
Yeah.
The support when you get it, it is good. And it's just nice. It's
Yeah.
really really nice. So I'm just looking forward to just being consistent with myself and stop playing with myself.
Yeah.
Everything y'all see me doing at home, I really want to do here because that was the goal in the first place. So now I'm just looking forward to seeing what it would be like. I don't plan on coaching no cheer anytime soon,
Yeah.
but I'm about done with that, and that's great. So I'm
Yeah.
just really just focused on, here, really
Yeah.
honestly, the show.
I'm excited for you. Like I need to come and just make a weekend trip. Just come to Atlanta. Like I haven't been back to Atlanta like surprisingly since I can't tell you the last. Well, I went back to Atlanta with on a college tour with Mr. Jeffrey. So that probably was like 4 years
Okay, that was
ago.
dope.
I
That's my
haven't been to Atlanta in about 4 years, but I need to come on business. Like one of the ladies that I had on my podcast, she's um Mika. Mika is a beast. I may need to introduce you guys because when I say she has like a network of like just dope women. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh. And she's just like a beautiful spirit. But she's like, I'm telling you, because she's, lived in Orlando and she's moved to Atlanta. And she's like, Jazz, if you came up here, like it's just totally different. Like, and we already call it our Black Hollywood anyway.
I
So
love
when I envision like Atlanta, I'm just like, I envision like, and I know it's like in a perfect world, probably what happened. I know the world is not perfect, but I'm
it.
just
Mm-hmm.
like, I think about like when people see you in a space and you're just trying, they see you and you're trying to elevate. It's just like, why not help this person? Like
That's what I be
I,
getting.
I just feel that vibe. Like I just feel like when you step in Atlanta, you just should be successful.
I love it here.
I don't
I
know.
love it here. I make the most money I've ever made ever
See,
without a degree.
see,
Without a degree. So even when I meet people like Jasmine, you literally would do so well here. Your degree, you're in the education field. That alone
yeah,
is gonna like you would do well here. But
yeah,
even just the media space, like you would think like at first it's like, dang, maybe it's oversaturated. I'm in a place like
yeah,
here. But honestly, because it is so many black people doing their thing, even the women that I'm like the girl who I just interviewed was dope. That's her
yeah,
first podcast interview. I'm like,
yeah.
what? Nobody
Right.
interviewed you? Oh my God, yeah, it's tripping. But a lady I reached out to, she just busy, busy, busy. She's gonna be on the second half of the season, but in August. But these are dope women. They're
Yeah,
doing great things, and you would think like, oh well, maybe a major platform will pick them up and interview these women, but they're not. They're looking for a local
yeah,
platform just like ours because we're more in tune with the
yeah.
community, with the audience. So
Hmm.
they really are looking, for people like us to come on our platform. Like I've not got a no yet. From every inbox that I've been in, no one has told me no yet. And
That's
they're
good.
all strangers. I literally don't know any of them.
Don't you love a good stranger? Like
I
I
love a
love me
good
some.
stranger,
Oh, I love me some good strangers.
I just love it. But it's some
Yeah,
dope women here doing dope things, and ultimately they just want to connect with other dope women too, and just put their brand out there. Like we're all chasing the same goal. And
absolutely.
so I was gonna say this earlier, but when one win, we all win.
Yeah,
So it don't even like before seeing I always seen you hosting events in the community before
mhm,
this whole platform. You were
yeah.
always hosting events. You're a
Oh, thank
dope
you.
event host,
You.
podcaster, yes, but that's just how I met you. But
Yeah,
you're so smooth with it, like
yeah.
that's not
Listen,
easy to do. Like even me, it's like, dang, okay. Like every time my host is like, this is not an easy thing to do, and
right.
I have to, I
But
need
you
to
do it. You
thank
do it.
you,
And I'm
thank you.
telling you, and that's why I'm so excited.
It's gonna be so good.
I'm like, I want to call her and be like, girl, what you wearing? Let me see what you wearing.
We're
How
gonna
you
talk.
wearing your hair?
We're gonna talk though, because I want us to be in point. And I talked to
Yes.
her about like, I talked to her about something like, is there anything in particular? And we're gonna talk because I want to say it
Yes,
on
we
here because I want
are.
to keep it. But
Yes, we
I
are.
was gonna get with you real soon so I can start
Yeah.
getting, the stuff together. But I can't wait
Yeah.
for that. I just know we're
Yeah.
gonna feed off each other really
Yeah.
well. It's gonna be a dope event.
Listen, y'all have got to, and I should have made a graphic for it, but you guys have like a display it, but I forgot. Y'all have got to make sure that on March 1st, okay? Y'all are in the building.
I'm gonna put it in
It's
the
at
comment.
Dormier Hall in Winter Haven, Florida. Okay. We are, oh my gosh, we have this opportunity to host a fashion show. And like for me, hosting fashion shows is one of my favorite things to
Me
do.
too.
And this is the first time I'm gonna be able
The one
to.
that went
Who is that talking?
In the background.
Oh, okay. I thought that was somebody that you called and was like, listen, uh-huh. I was like, oh, let me hear what they got to say.
No, it's my background.
I'm being nosy, but I was like, we are gonna host this fashion show and I cannot wait. I just cannot wait for PDR. Like, first of all, her line is amazing in itself. Like, it is an outfit that will fit you perfectly. That she has that I want so bad. I'm like, baby, you got to put some more material, cause I want it, but I'm like, I can't even.
Hey.
You gotta go over these hips, okay? Like in this tummy, like that's what you're gonna have to do. But I can't wait. I can't wait to pop out with you and host for the very first time with you. I think it's gonna be amazing, and we are going to collaborate. We are gonna have that phone call, and we're gonna host this thing out. Like it's gonna be like a fashion show to remember. I know we're gonna do magnificently well together. So I can't wait.
I really can't wait to, Jasmine. I really appreciate you so much. I can't wait to do more together. I'm
Yeah,
just looking forward to this year. This year is the year for God's children. So
absolutely.
I
Absolutely. And
believe
I
that.
thank you. I thank you so much because I know you are a busy girl. I thank you for doing what you did to be able to come on this podcast tonight.
Of
Like you
course.
said, you'll call me at the last look. This was the last minute. And I'm just like, I couldn't think of anybody else that I wanted to interview at this particular time. Like it's a God thing for me. So
It
I'm just
is though.
you're saying Mercedes? Okay, I'm gonna go with Mercedes. Let me
Okay,
go with
cool.
Mercedes.
So,
Like, okay. So
mhm.
it's a reason, it's a purpose in all of this. So and I receive it. But you have given me flowers in this episode, and I just want to make sure that you hear yours. Like,
Thank
thank you so much
you.
for being a positive light in the community. Thank you for being one of those people that set the bar high, the person who set the precedent for it, the roadmap for it, in really shining a light on women who are winning in the community because it is so needed. It's so many women who need to hear that applause from other women because
Yeah.
empowered women actually do empower women. Like we're
Hmm.
paid over here, like we know that everybody has their own lane. And so you are creating motion for women who may not have had it in
Thank
any other
you.
way. And they're just so dope. Just sitting all by themselves, just being dope. And
Hmm.
and the people who need to know about them don't know until God puts them in your path. And it's like, there you go. And so that's powerful. So continue doing what you're doing, sis.
Thank you. I really just appreciate you so much. This was great.
I appreciate you too. And so, do you have any final shout outs? Do you have shout outs do you want to give to somebody? You have any final words that you want to say?
I just want to shout out, God is so good, y'all. If you've not tried him, try him, please. He's so good. I am imperfect, but God has shown me that through him,
Yeah.
anything is possible. Grace can and will be extended. So that's just my advice with people. I feel like I only feel this good because I know who I am in Christ. I really was in my word last year, you know what I mean? Like really
Yeah.
just in it for myself, getting to know Jesus for who he is, and he's so good.
Mhm.
So, I want to definitely just leave people with that because I feel like that's what has me having courage right now. Like, you know what, God, you gave me this. I'm gonna walk boldly. Like, you created me to be like this. I'm about to start walking like I know who I am because I do know who I am. I know whose I am, and I know
Mhm.
where I'm going. So, that's just my advice for people. I do plan to have a vision board party this year, and
Okay.
that's gonna be dope. It was in April. So when I first moved to Atlanta, I had a vision board party in April. It was like April 16th or 17th, and I'm gonna have it in April again. I plan to drop the flyer February 1st. So I'm still just solidifying a few more things. But
Okay.
I do plan on having a vision board party. I like to have it in usually March or April. So March, if you know, Ladies in Motion, you've been following, March is like my women's empowerment time. So March 1st, the day of our fashion show that we're
Yeah.
hosting, is just a good day for me. I feel like it's the first day in the year, in the entire year, that demands you to do something.
Yeah.
Okay. So March 1st is the first day that demands you to do something, and that's telling you to March 1st, right? So
Yeah.
before you can continue walking in your purpose, you first got to have that courage to first March, take that first step. And then March 4th is another Women's Empowerment
Absolutely.
Day. It encourages you to March 4th. After you taking that first step, you continue to March 4th in your purpose, even when it's looking crazy. So the vision board parties I always like to have around March or April because it's, usually after the first 3 months, that first quarter, that's when people may fall off on their goals that they set. So my vision board
Right.
party just reminds you, like, hey, what were those goals? Let's put them back in front of you again, and
Mhm.
let's stick to it. Don't give up now. Because a
Right.
lot of people fall off after them 3 months. So be
Absolutely.
on the lookout for that. But that's about it. Just the dopest lineup, a vision board party, a whole lot of Mercedes that's winning and other women that's winning. So
Absolutely. So tell everybody how they can tune into your podcast and then when, where, how can we like, follow, subscribe?
So every single Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. My first episode was at 8 o'clock p.m. Just because I wanted to make it 8 o'clock just in case time. I don't know what time
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
but everything has been real smooth. And that studio I was at was my first time at that particular studio.
It
So
looked amazing. So
thank
good
you.
job on that. I love that.
Thank you. I love that guy so much. We've locked it in, so that's like my new spot.
Yay.
But every single Wednesday at 7:30, I'm gonna put before you a woman that is winning in the local community. Most of them this season is in Georgia. I
Yeah.
do have a guest. She's in Florida. Alicia Miller, my best friend, who is thriving. She's doing so good. If you're in the medical field, you want to catch this episode on the 29th of January. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be so good. But every Wednesday, we have her. I have a artist out of South Carolina that I just am obsessed with. I met her when I hosted the Black Girl Art Show in Orlando. She's so talented, and she's going to be on the show as well. And then just shout out to Millicent, who I interviewed last week. She has a lady from Vegas that's going to be in Atlanta, and we're correlating some time, to
Yeah.
just, because again, Ladies in Motion, global, international. So it's not just meant to be Polk County women or Atlanta women. Wherever you are, we can make something happen. You know what I mean?
I love that.
So, yeah, just a dope lineup. You can follow it at talkitout.lim. On Instagram, it's at talkitout.lim for Ladies in Motion, or you can follow at ladiesinmotion.llc on Instagram as well. Those are the business pages.
Okay.
I do have my personal page is Madam Walker 2.0. So my Instagram was hacked in
Oh
2023.
no.
So I know I lost such good content on that, but it's cool.
Mhm.
But my new Instagram is Madam Walker 2.0. This is the new
I
improved
did
Madam
notice that
Walker.
that was a different that was a different page. I'm like, okay.
Hey mom, it's my mom.
I know. Like,
Shout out to
hey,
my
when I saw her, I
mom.
was like, oh, she
Yeah,
been
I
on.
want to shout out to my mom. Just follow. I just want to shout out my mom, everyone who's been supportive. Um, you know, my mom, of course, like I keep saying, my parents, my family, like my whole entire family. My mom's house has been my studio before. My auntie Tree's house has been my studio before. Shout out to my pastor, my co-pastor. The church has been my studio several times. Like, I really do have the best support system. So I don't want to leave anybody out, so I want to shout out too many people, but just shout out to all the ones that's been rocking with me from day one. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. And so I do we did this and you helped me with the promotion of this with you know trying to get someone who would be very, very engaged into the
Mm-hmm.
conversation. And so I want to congratulate Simone.
Do you think Simone? Okay.
Who were you thinking?
I was either thinking Simone or Constance Smith. They both were engaged.
Yeah, she was hanging in there as well.
But
And I was
Simone
like,
kind of was too. So
yes. So thank you so much. And I did see Angel, you tuned in. So thank you so much for tuning in as well. Just everyone who did tune in and everyone who did engage. Like I really do appreciate your support. I was looking at I was trying to count it up and I'm
count
like,
it up.
okay. So congratulations, Simone. I know you guys will converse back and forth about the mobile bartending idea because she's such a great, support. And she's a dope bartender as well. So I know
Simone.
y'all
Still
will.
bartending. Uh-huh.
Simone has her own business, like where she does it with other, at different events. So I
Mm-hmm.
hope you guys get to collaborate on that. And I just,
Mm-hmm. Oh no. I don't know where she went. But thank you all for tuning in and congratulations, Simone. I'm pretty sure she'll be coming right back on here any second. Make sure y'all follow Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. And all of the Ladies in Motion platforms. The both of our podcasts can be found on your favorite podcast platform. So Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio as well. You can find both of these podcasts. So make sure y'all catch it, okay? Oh no, this is weird.
She did.
Let me see. I'm gonna get off. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. Again, congratulations, Simone, on being our most engaged viewer. We appreciate you for all your support always. Congratulations on everything. Make sure you guys follow the Jazzmar podcast on all platforms. And again, follow Ladies in Motion on all platforms. If you follow me on ladiesinmotion.llc, you'll see all the other pages. But Jazzie Conversations with Jazz airs every Monday at 7 o'clock, highlighting the power of a dope comeback. Make sure you tune in next week as well. Bye.
So I have no idea what happened with that, but I do want to say thank you so much to Madam Walker, Miss Mercedes Madam Walker, for being my special guest for episode 140 of the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. I also want to say thank you so much for being my special viewers out there. And so definitely make sure you are following Mercedes Walker with all of her platforms. And thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe on Instagram, Facebook, and also on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform. And remember, you can make a comeback from anything with God, the right resources, knowing how to use those resources effectively, and your willingness to do the necessary work. Don't forget to get your merch. You can be a part of my Jazzy crew as well. All you have to do is inbox me at Jazzy Conversations with Jazz. That's Jazzie, Conversations with Jazz. That would be on Gmail. And so I would really, 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 really like for you guys to do that. And so thank you, Mercedes, for closing out the show. Make sure you guys get your merch. I will see you back on next Monday. Have a good day.